everyone, it's time again to recap the latest news from the solar PV industry, compiled by the American Solar Energy Society. I'm Jay Warmke with SolarPVTraining.com, and this is what's happening in the wonderful world of solar for the week of July 20th. With the passage of H.R. 1, also known as the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the incentives for installing solar were slated to end much sooner than previously set by the IRA. While many details are still in flux, the impact of larger PV systems are coming into focus. In order to qualify for investment tax credits, currently set at 30%, non-residential solar projects must begin construction by July 4th, 2026, or 1 year from now, or be producing by the end of 2027. The 10% energy community credit, as well as the 10% domestic content tax credit bonus adders, are still in effect under this new legislation. Additionally, non-residential project owners can still transfer their tax credits to other investors, and nonprofit entities will still receive direct payment in lieu of these tax credits. H.R. 1 imposes strict prohibitions on the use of components or materials from prohibited entities, primarily China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran. Solar projects that include panels, inverters, or any other components manufactured, assembled, or containing critical materials from these entities will be ineligible for these federal tax credits after December 31st of this year. While the details of these new rules are still being drafted, it's assumed that these will have a substantial impact on product sourcing, on supply chains, and credit eligibility for the solar industry. The North Carolina Energy Technologies Center released its 2025 edition of the 50 States of Solar. This quarterly report provides insights into state regulatory and legislative discussions and actions on solar policy. This quarter, the report finds that 48 states took some type of distributed solar policy action during the second quarter of this year. States focused on net metering, distributed solar valuation, interconnection rules, community solar, residential fixed charges, financial incentives, and third-party ownership. A significant trend over the past 3 months was to increase residential fixed costs of utility customers and also decrease compensation for energy net metered from solar owners to utilities. State policymakers also enacted multiple bills supporting consumer protection for customers with third-party owned solar systems and adjusted and expanded property tax incentives for solar energy system owners. Utilities are likely to accelerate the development of their renewable energy projects in order to qualify for the Inflation Reduction Act tax credits within the new 1-year safe harbor period set by the Republican mega bill that became law earlier this month. This, according to a report from the investment bank Jefferies. Jefferies anticipates that utilities and renewable heavy plans will accelerate projects originally slated for 2030 and 2031, moving them forward into 2027 and 2028 in order to qualify for these safe harbor rules as defined under the new legislation. Now, safe harbor is a term used to describe how a project is deemed to be under construction in order to meet the various deadlines in these incentive or tax credit rules. U.S. utilities and electric generation developers added about 12 gigawatts of new generation resources between January and April of this year. This compared to 11 gigawatts over the same period last year. This is according to the latest monthly infrastructure report from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC. The vast majority of that generation, 9.5 gigawatts, was solar, followed by 2 gigawatts of wind and about half a gigawatt or 500 megawatts of natural gas. And like a game of whack-a-mole, with the U.S. government imposed tariffs on panels made in China, that nation moved some of their production to other nearby nations. And in 2024, the U.S. Department of Commerce, or the DOC, launched an investigation into whether solar panels that came from Cambodia, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand were being dumped onto the American market. They found they were, and they imposed tariffs on panels from those nations. Then soon, imports from India, Indonesia, and Laos started to increase. The Commerce Department is now looking into largely Chinese-owned solar panel manufacturers located in Laos and Indonesia, as well as companies headquartered in India. The DOC will investigate whether imports from these nations are unfairly priced or subsidized, and will determine whether those imports have an adverse impact on domestic manufacturing. If both are proven to be the case, then tariffs will likely be imposed on panels from those nations as well. And that is the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.